Welcome to Playflow's weekly podcast for game reviews. I'm Bioshockraptor reviewing Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening for the PS2. Okay, well, this game was developed and produced by Capcom and has sold over 1 million copies. It was released in 2005 worldwide. In 2006, Capcom released a special edition because the original game was too hard. The special edition is just $5 more, and it allows you to watch the cinematics that you've already seen and adds another character to play as. They're both rated mature for violence, but no swearing or sexual references. In this game you are Dante, a demon slayer. He's actually half demon himself, who goes out to fight with his brother. The story starts off as Dante is in his soon-to-be demon-slaying business shop, and a man who introduces himself as Arkham comes to him and gives him an invitation, which is actually a bunch of demons trying to kill him. Then Dante sets off killing bad people and creatures until he gets to his brother. They fight, Dante gets stronger, they fight again, and so on. In the end, it's all happy, sort of. This is actually a prelude to the first two Devil May Cry games, telling the story about how Dante got this awesome power which he uses. The power is actually turning into a full demon for a limited time. So in this game you don't actually have it when you start, you need to unlock it. It's pretty intense and sucks you right in for the ending. The only thing is that it's kind of random how he goes off on a huge journey for nothing really. It just seems like something for him to do. Dante is the coolest character I've come across. He's funny, he's tough, he's witty, and he's relaxed. He's just, go with the flow. He wears a red coat and brown trousers. You can change his costume when you unlock them, and he carries 2 pistols and 1 huge sword. His brother, Virgil, is a good character too. They both have the same sense of humour, but Virgil is more quiet, but he does talk a lot, if that makes sense. These characters are some of the best I've seen, with really cool hair. The enemies look good too, zombies to demons to the weirdness, but they're all great and you'll be very pleased. The gameplay is very, very fun. It's literally the best I've come across in a game. It's truly an action-packed adventure, and what official reviewers say is true. It really defines the hack and slash genre. You could either button mash or try to get a high mark, which you receive at the end of the level, while launching combos and changing your weapons mid-combo. You can also chain together as many attacks as possible, making it very fun. Before the mission starts, you can customize your weapons and buy more items, and you can also change your style. There are 6 styles, 4 you start off with, and the other 2 you unlock along the way. The different styles see out the way you play and what strategies you use. Gunslinger, one you start off with, is particularly for your pistols and guns, allowing you to do combos with your guns that you couldn't do in other styles. Swordmaster is obviously for your swords. Royal Guard focuses on defense more than offense, using your enemies' attacks against them. And the last one is Trickster, which is pretty much Gunslinger and Swordmaster, but toned down a bit on both styles, but lets you do things like large dashes and run up walls. The other 2 you unlock allow you to duplicate yourself and stop time. The gameplay is just truly magnificent here, and it's going to make you want to get better at it and play it again and again. The controls are great in this game too. No stuffing up, no anything really. X is jump, square is shoot, triangle is to use your sword, and circle is special attack for the style you choose. The buttons you use to change your weapons are on the shoulder, so you don't need to pull your fingers out of their comfort zones just to do it. The controls are all in the right places. You just cannot hate it in this game. The graphics in Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening are really good for its time, but not for this time. When you're watching a cinematic, you're kind of thinking, They could have at least made the cutscenes better, because truth is, they're horrible. I mean, they are actually very good for the gameplay, but when you're watching something, it's blocky, it's fuzzy, it's just not good enough. But don't get me wrong, you can still watch them alright. But Capcom could have made them a little better. They sort of failed on this, but the background and surroundings are nice. They're all like a gothic-like medieval sculpture. But music is genius here. When you're running around looking for something or doing a puzzle, it's nice kind of quiet music, but when you're in battle it turns to a hardcore theme. It's just awesome. It's really intense. It's brilliant goth-like battle music. It's kind of suggesting, but it's pretty cool. There is only a little bit of multiplayer in this game. That's at the very end, when Dante and Virgil are together fighting a boss, and that still isn't very good. The camera only fixes on player 1, so you probably wouldn't even play the multiplayer part. There is also that style that lets you play multiplayer, but not for more than 30 seconds, unless you use a specific costume you receive by completing the game on the hardest difficulty, or use cheats. And you'd never really do this. It's just not, shame. Devil May Cry 3 Dante's Awakening has 20 levels and about 10 mini levels. You'll probably finish the game in about 20 hours on average, but if you're really good and play non-stop, you'd get it done in one long day probably. When you finish the story mode, you're probably not going to just put it down and not touch it again. You're really going to want to play it to get better at it and unlock and test more costumes. You'll come back and play it through again, but I don't imagine playing it more than 3 times unless you're obsessed. So this game is just brilliant. It's a true masterpiece. It's got great gameplay and great replay value, great music and great story. It's very good, but no multiplayer, and the sloppy cutscenes lets it down a little. If you don't like this game, you're crazy. You just have to play it and experience it for yourself. Story 4, characters 5, gameplay 5, controls 5, graphics 3, music 5, multiplayer 1, length 5, replay value 5. Overall rating 9. Superb.